Welcome back to our second presentation now for Chapter 1. And in this presentation we will be discussing goal setting and learning how to create well-written goals. And then we'll discuss a little bit about the time value of money. When you study highly successful, highly effective people, almost to a person, you will find that they are very good at setting goals. They almost all have that in common. Now they have different other characteristics, but they are able to, as Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. They see where they want to go, and they work to get there. So we're going to learn how to create goals, and hopefully we'll be better off for it. Maybe not. I think so. Developing personal financial goals. Types of financial goals include those that are influenced by the time frame. We have to know before we do anything else what the time frame is, and we'll take a concentrated look at that in just a moment. And influenced by the need, the priority that drives your goals. As we said, we must identify our timing, and there are generally three categories that time falls into: short-term, intermediate term, and long-term, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. But take a look at the bottom of slide 19. Very important. Financial goals should be realistic, be stated in specific, measurable terms, have a time frame, have a priority, and indicate the action or actions to be taken. So we're going to take a look at some very good examples of financial goals. We'll take a look at some not so good examples of financial goals. But these are the characteristics, the criteria that a well-written, a well-developed goal must have. It must be realistic, otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure. It must be stated in specific, measurable terms, otherwise you don't know when you've achieved your goal. It must have a time frame, short-term, intermediate term, long-term, or more specific if need be. A priority. Usually people will characterize their priorities by low, medium, high, and you can use other things like, this is urgent, this has to be done, or I don't care if this is ever actually done. And then indicate the specific action or actions to be taken. What are we going to do to get there? It's great to have a goal in mind, but what actions are you going to take? And as we said, we'll take a look at some very good examples. And in the rubric for goals, which is on the website with a commentary, there are some not so good financial goals. And you need to learn from both the good ones and the bad ones. Slide number 20. Here is the slide that describes the timing of financial goal. Now these at the top of the slide are the financial industry's general guidelines. Everybody's a little different, but this is what you'll hear people say. Short term, up to a year or so, whatever that means. In the accounting world, short term is called current, and that's 1 year. That's the accounting world. In the financial world, usually people use about a year or so. Intermediate term, 2 to 5 years. Long term is generally considered anything more than 5 years. Now, I take a little bit longer view. I think of short term as 1, 2, or 3 years, because the older you get, the faster time goes. Wasn't it just a few years ago that we were partying like it's 1990? What was a long time ago. An intermediate term, 3 to 5, 6, or even 7 years, because one archetypal example of intermediate goals is saving for a down payment on a house. And usually people take three or 4 years to do so, but in San Diego, it can take a lot longer. So an intermediate goal of saving for a down payment on a house might be 7 years. And then long term, 7, 10, 30 years, that's what I like to think. The book's time frames are more in line with the general consensus within the financial industry, brokerage firms, and mutual firms. My time frames are more common in the life insurance industry, but that, it's just everybody has their own. But you will know if I ask you. This is 6 months. What is that? Short term. This is 3 years. That's intermediate term. This is 12 years or 20 years. That's long term. So you will know. You will know if I ask you. Slide 21. So here is a well-written goal. Now, this is the format that I use. The format in the book is a little different. You'll see that, and then we'll take a look at a few other formats, but this is the format that I like the best, outline format, so to speak. Financial goal is to pay off the the Visa, right? Balance, $3,500. How did I get $3,500 on the darn credit card? Oh yeah, well there was a trip to Cancun that didn't turn out so well. Boy, was she and then the car, and then those books. Oh my goodness, those books are so expensive for my classes. Yikes! Is it easy to get $3,500 on your squeezia? Oh yeah, the the culture is definitely geared toward getting you to get that balance way up there. Is it easy to get it off? No, it's not easy to get it off. So we're setting ourselves a time frame of 12 months. What time frame does this belong to? Right, short term. That's short term. Actions to be taken. Reduce dating and clubbing to twice a month. You mean I gotta stay home on a Saturday night? Oh, cancel the cable service and the mobile phone. Oh no, you millennials would never do anything like that. Oh, you'd rather lose your air. Stop buying coffee at Starbucks. They're geniuses. You take a cup of coffee, cost them about $1.25 to make, and they sell it for $5. Geniuses. Pay extra $300 per month. Priority high. This is a high priority. Want this monkey off our back. We said it's a short-term goal, 12 months. How would we measure the success of the goal? Can we easily measure? Sure. If in 12 months the balance is 0, congratulations. Now, the last question is something that's very difficult for anybody but yourself to answer. Is the goal reasonable? You understand? Yeah, is the goal reasonable? For some people, yeah. People who love to spend $200 or $300 going out on a Saturday night, well, sure. There are people who do that, folks. It's not hard to do. It's not easy to do. It's not hard to do. It's very easy to do if you love the high life. And so can you do it once a month, right? Or twice a month? Yeah, so maybe if it is reasonable for others. Some other people might say, are you out of your mind? Where am I going to get an extra $300 a month? And so what's reasonable is what's reasonable for you. Slide number 22. Save up for a home theater system. Amount needed $2,000. Now that might sound not like a lot, but do you really need a whole lot of money to buy a home? Not anymore. The electronics have come down quite a bit. Now you could spend a whole lot more, folks. Sure, you can spend, but for $2,000, you can get a pretty nice little system. What's our time frame? 12 months. Right. Short term. Actions to be taken: take a part-time job at Home Depot, and put $150 into a special savings account at the bank. Priority medium. Now, does this sound like a typical United States of America citizen goal? No. What would the typical American do? Ooh, yeah, just slide that little card. Ooh, slide it ever so slowly. We have been programmed not to use what is called deferred gratification. You wanted something, you saved up for it. No, we're taught, get it now. You've earned it. You deserve. Anyway, you getting the picture, right? Okay, good. Slide number 23. Now, how about this goal? Save up for a down payment on a condominium. We need $15,000. Is that enough? Well, for a low-end condo in San Diego, if you have good credit, if you're a first-time home buyer, yeah, it's just barely enough. Time frame, 5 years. Oosh. Well, 5 years. Is that intermediate, long term? Well, you decide. Intermediate, you could say it's intermediate, you could say it's long term. Either one would be fine as far as I'm concerned. Now, is it short term? No. No, it's definitely intermediate or long term depending on who you are. What are we going to do? We're going to set up $200 automatic investment per month to be taken from our checking account, and our expected rate of return is 7%. Where are we going to get 7%? Later. Priority high. We want to be in a condo in 5 years. So we ask ourselves, will $200 per month at 7% be enough to reach this goal? Well, today, after the presentation, because we can't do it together. In the face-to-face class, we do it together. But you're going to learn how to calculate the future value of this stream of investments, of this series of deposits. What do you think about this goal, folks? You millennials just starting out, you might think, oh, I'll never be able to buy a home. It's not true. You can do it. It can be done. In fact, I got to find this article. There was a young man, age 14, whose family had been scattered because of challenges, and he and his brother and his sister were separated in foster care. He set a goal for himself, age 14, that he would have a home where his brothers and his sister could live together. Age 24. Folks, he did it. He bought a house. Now his sister had since married, but he and his two other brothers are living. I don't know if they still are, but maybe they're getting older. But in Nestor area, South San Diego near Imperial Beach, he bought a house at age 24, and for his brothers. Now it's interesting. There's a wonderful book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. Once you start on that hero's journey, once you start on your path, once you set a goal for yourself, it is almost, it's not always, but it's almost as if there are magical things that happen behind you. Goethe said it really well. I can't remember the quote, the poet. And sure enough, as he built his nest egg to get for the down payment, things just seemed to fall into place for him. The story was taken up as he was trying to put down the down payment, and folks at Home Depot donated all these things to fix up this house. It's a great story. I got to find it and find a link. It was in the San Diego Useless Tribune a few years ago, Union Tribune. So I'm going to find that. I got to write that down and do that. Okay, now let's take a look at slide number 24. This is a non-financial goal, and you'll see the assignment sheet, and there's a commentary. You're going to do 3 short-term goals, financial, 3 long-term or intermediate term, any combination you want, and then 1 non-financial goal. So here's a non-financial goal, slide 24. I want to be able to do 15 good push. What's a good push-up, right? None of this stuff where your back slides back and forth. Straight back, up and down. And this is the goal that I set for myself after taking a class that we don't have here anymore, but it was called the Health Appraisal class. It was a 1-unit class, but boy, did they really help you. They took blood and they put you on the little thing where you walk, the treadmill, and measure your heart, and then they also asked you to do push-ups and pull-ups. And I could only do about 7, and the professor, he retired, said, Piano, you're doing all right with your heart, because I ride bikes, but you need upper body strength. So we need you to be able to do at least 15 good push-ups. So I set a goal for myself within 3 months, short term, I'm going to start with 7 push-ups 3 times a day, increase by 2 or 3 push-ups every 3 to 4 weeks, and within 3 months I want to get up to 15 push-ups. Now I set myself a priority of medium, I wanted to do it, but if it didn't happen, I wasn't going to beat myself up. Is this goal reasonable? Well, for many people it will be. For others it might not be. You need to talk with a health pro to see if it's right for you. But I was able to achieve my goal, and I was very proud of myself, and everything was just fine. And then all of a sudden I had a shoulder injury. Had nothing to do with the push-ups, something completely different. And what happened? Well, there you go. The best laid plans of mice and men and push-ups. And so it took a few months before I could start doing push-ups again. And this is what life is like, folks. There are goals that we set for ourselves, and we achieve some, and we don't achieve some, and we learn, and we have to go back to the drawing board. But the sad thing that I find with people is that they will say, well, someday I'm going to do this, someday. And that's fine. That's the dreaming stage. That's great. But how are you going to actualize it? How are you going to make it real? That takes a little bit of work, doesn't it? So we set some short-term goals for ourselves, and we are very happy. We love those short-term goals because they help us gain confidence. We set intermediate-term and we set long-term goals, and we write down the actions. What are we going to do? The specific actions that will lead to the goal and the priority. Great. Good. Now, here is an example of what I call checking for comprehension. In the face-to-face class, I give out these little A, B, C, D cards that people use to raise what they think is the answer to the question. In this university, they have these little electronic clickers that you just press the button and it shows up on a big screen. We don't have that. We don't have that budget. So so we use low tech. Obviously, if you printed out the presentation, you know the answer because it shows you. But if you're watching the presentation, you're going to follow along here. What do you think? Which of the following goals would be the easiest to implement and measure its accomplishment? A, save less, spend less so we can save more each month. B, save $10,000 for a down payment on a condo. C, save $100 each month to create a $4,000 emergency fund in 40 months by canceling the cable service. Or D, save enough for a $4,000 vacation next year. Well, if you ask people, often what they will do is they will say, I like A, spend less so we can save more each month. It's not right. In fact, that's the worst example right there. How much is less? How much is more? When do we know? How will we know? When will we get there? We can't. B and C are better because they give us specific measurable goals. In case of B, $10,000. In case of D, $4,000. And D even gives us a time frame, next year. But only C is the one that tells us what our specific goal is, how long it's going to take us to get there, and what are we going to do to get there. So you're going to be submitting your goals via Blackboard, and I'm going to be writing back, be specific, be specific. And then I want you to redo them, folks. I don't want you to say, okay, I'll accept the 4 points out of 10. No, I want you to redo them. I want you to get them right. We want to be good here. So study this one slide and look at the rubric too. The rubric will really help you also. Okay? Now, we ask ourselves, what is the financial goal of most Americans? United Staters. Well, if you ask people, they'll say, oh, retirement, owning a home, college education for the kids, an RV. Well, no, they're all wrong. Those are the things that we say are the most important financial goal. but our actions speak louder than our words. The most important financial goal of most all Americans is to spend everything that you earn. Right? Make money, spend it. Go make some more, spend that. And then spend a little more. Most Americans live beyond their means. Honey, can we make it to the next paycheck? Well, we could have if you hadn't gone to that day spa for $400. Well, you bought those golf clubs. Can you see how money can be the biggest reason for divorce? After today, folks, you have been enlightened. You have been touched by BUS121. Oh, I'm sorry. How do we do it? Yeah, I forgot the big discussion part. Why do we do it? How do we do it? Well, that's easy. Credit cards, right? And boy, doesn't the industry just make it so easy. You've earned it. You deserved it, you creeps. The question I have is, why do we do it? Why do we do it? Well, a lot of it is cultural, folks, and a lot of it is just, we'll discuss later on in detail the psychological aspects of consumerism and the like, but I'm on the other side. So I don't know if you've read my in the discussion boards, my introduction to myself, but I don't like spending, so that's why I'm really good to teach this class. I can tell other people because I don't spend either, and they don't listen to me anyway. But why do we do it? It's part of the culture. It's part of what has been, I like this word, inculcated within us, means just stuffed inside our heads from the time we were infants. And so we're going to change you today. You, as I said, you're touched by BUS121. After today, what is the most important financial goal you will have? And that is to spend less than you earn. It's that simple. Oh, but it ain't easy, is it? You are going to create for yourself a mantra. Now, it can be this one, spend less than you earn, but I'll have a few others for you, and you might like these better. Don't live beyond your means. Live beneath your means. You won't live beyond your means using credit cards. You'll live beneath your means by setting goals for yourself, saving, and then having deferred gratification. Now, the third saying here is probably the most effective one, the most useful one, and that's pay yourself first. And we'll discuss this in detail in just a moment. But my personal favorite, I'm a baby boomer, child of the 60s, and my personal favorite is make love, not loans. Yeah, I like it. I use it. In fact, you're going to use one of these. I don't care which one you use, but you have to internalize one of them. Write it on the back of your eyelids. This phrase, spend less than you earn, live beneath your means, pay yourself first, make love, not loans, will be your mantra. Now, what is a mantra? There's often a lot of hype around these things, but really all a mantra is a sound or a visual representation. Sometimes there are physical mantras, walking mantras, and meditations. And what they are vehicles to move your mentality, move your physical awareness to a different place. So when you are confronted with the 10,000 images every day, I have a hard time believing this, but that's what the media people tell us. We are bombarded with 10,000 different images every day to get us to buy and consume and overspend. You are going to use your mantra to bring you back to a better place. So for example, you're in Target, that fabulously exclusive French department store, and the woman behind the counter asks you if you'd like to put this on your Target card, and you say, no thanks, I make love, not loans. And that's what I do. And she'll go, that's funny. So use it. Oh no, I live beneath my means. Oh no, I pay myself first. Because we Americans have a mantra. We just don't, we don't say it, but we have it. And it's inculcated, there's that word again, in us. Okay, I'll tell you. Now, you ready? Okay, I don't tell every class this, but so you got to get ready. So you got to burn a little bit of incense, turn the lights down low, get into the lotus position. Oh, ouch! You ready for the American mantra? Om Mani. Om Mani. Yeah, that's the American mantra, folks. And so you're going to replace that mantra with one of these four. I don't care. You see, I give you four choices. The most effective goal, the most effective mantra, I think, is pay yourself first. It's not the one I use. I mean, I use it. I do it, but I don't use it when I'm confronted with the images trying to make me overspend. I use make love, not loans. But on slide 28, pay yourself first is the most effective. Why? Because by having the money come out of your paycheck or checking account automatically, most individuals easily adjust to investing. You see, it works like a pay raise, only in reverse. You talk to people who've been on the treadmill, and they will say things like, yeah, you know, things are going okay, I'm all right, but if I just had an extra $300 a month, or if I just got that 10% raise, what happens when they go broke at a higher level? Go down to the bankruptcy courts and see who are there, and you'll see people who are making $200,000 a year in bankruptcy. Now, I would like to, just give me a couple of years of that, and I'll tell you, it's very simple. Spend $250,000 a year, even if you're making $200,000 a year, and eventually you're going to wind up in bankruptcy court. The 10% solution is what many financial planners recommend. They want you to save at least 10% of your income for long-term compounded growth. And one of the best books that describes this is The Wealthy Barber. The problem is it was written in the 1980s, so it's way out of, the numbers are all whacked. But Mr. Chilton is a fabulous writer. He's got a great sense of humor. It's worse than mine, that's a great sense of humor. And he really does lay out the, he's not the only one, lay out the reasons for why you should learn to spend less than you earn. Live beneath your means. Pay yourself first. Make love, not loans. Now, is 10% reasonable? Well, for you millennials that don't have serious payments other than your cell phone, it's a great habit to get into. But for other people who are already out there, got the car and the rent and the orthodontia, and they look at you, 10%, are you out of your mind? Exactly. So what's reasonable is what's reasonable for you, but if you can do it early, you make $100, save 10. You make 1,000, save 100. You make $50, save 5. Don't blow it at $5. This is from The Wealthy Barber. Quote from The Wealthy Barber. Now let me set the stage for you. The Wealthy Barber is a barber in a small town in Michigan, and he is 60 years old. He gives out advice as well as haircuts to his customers. He gives out financial advice. And everybody thinks that he inherited the money. But it turns out, no. He built it up over his lifetime. And he's describing this to his customers here and his students. The magic of compound interest. $30 a month, $1 a day can magically turn into over $1 million. And do you know what is even more impressive? You know someone who has done it, Roy, our barber, said proudly. 35 years ago, he's age 25, I started my savings with $30 a month, approximately 10% of my earnings. I have achieved just under 13% return per year. In addition, as my income rose, my savings rose accordingly. $30 a month became $60, then $100, and eventually hundreds of dollars a month. You three are looking at a very wealthy man. Slide number 30. One of my early students only followed the pay yourself 10% first lesson. He brought the wrong life insurance, abused credit cards, overpaid for his mortgage, did not take advantage of his 401k at work, and lost all $15,000 of an inheritance playing the commodities market. This is a real upbeat, encouraging story, Roy, said Tom. Today, his net worth is $850,000, Tom. $300,000 of it is the equity in his house, but the rest is his 10% savings. He did everything else wrong, but, Kathy started, because he had saved 10% of each paycheck and invested it for long-term compounded growth, today he is in great shape. Roy finished. Yes, you can do it. Now, this book, I think, is out of print, but you can find it at the libraries. The Rule of 72. The slide 31, we discussed the Rule of 72. It's not that important. We're going to be more precise. The book is going to go into a little bit of detail about it, but it's a simple, quick, and dirty method for calculating compound interest or inflation. You divide your interest rate or your inflation rate into 72. And that's approximately how long it will take the amount to double. So let's say we get 10%. Where are we going to get that? Relax. 72 divided by 10 is 7.2 years. It'll take about 7 years for your investment to double if you earn 10%. If you earn 7%, 7 into 10 would be 10, I'm sorry, 7 into 72 would be about 10 years. If inflation stays around 3%, right now it's a little less, but let's say it's around 3, it's been 3% for over 30 years. Then you take 72 divided by 3, or 24 years, and it takes about 24 years for prices to double if inflation runs about 3%. And if you go back 24 years and look at the price of a big money waster, a BMW, right, you'll see that it's about half of what it is now. So figure 24 years, exactly. But we're going to get more precise. We're going to learn how to compute compound interest, how to do what's called compounding. The calculations are not hard, folks. You can do this. People will just look at it and go, I can't do numbers. Wrong. If you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide using a calculator, all you need is a 99-cent calculator. You don't go out and buy something that can launch the space shuttle. You don't need it. You don't even need squirt. You know squirt? 4 squirt is 2 square root. All you need is add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So let's take a look at simple interest. Simple interest, which we'll discuss in detail in Chapter 5, is principal times rate times time. So let's say I'm getting 6%. $100 I put in the bank or wherever, times 6% times 1 year is $6. In 1 year, you have $106, the principal plus the interest. But compound interest says the next year you will earn interest on your interest. So that $106 earning 6% times 1 year is $6.36, and after the next year you will have a whopping $112.36. And I know what you're thinking. Big deal, Piano. Big deal. Dear students, it is. It is a big deal, especially if you have time. When we take a look at the formulas, I'll explain. But the book is going to describe compounding, which we are going to worry about, and it's also going to spend a lot of time on discounting. Don't worry about that. We talk about that in the next class. So the time value of money refers to increases in amount of money as a result of interest earned, and the fact that $1 now doesn't mean the same thing as it did 30 years ago or the same thing as it will in 30 years. Right, that's the time value of money. I mean, it's nothing new. Benjamin Franklin said we must remember that time is money. And so we're going to learn how to go from today, an amount now, into the future. That's called compounding. The other way, it's just the other side of the coin, is taking an amount sometime in the future and bringing it back to the present. Not important for our needs. Later, but not now. Slide 34. The future value of money. The amount to which a sum you invest now will increase based on a specified interest rate and time period. Future value is also called compounding. So I want you to learn that term, okay? Compounding. Future value can be computed for a single amount, sometimes called a single payment, a lump sum payment, a single principal, a principal amount, Or future value can be determined for a series of deposits, a stream of investments. Another word for that is annuity, but folks, I don't want you to use that term. Okay, don't use the term annuity because that's also a product that is sold by insurance companies. So even though annuity is right, that's what annuity is. It's a series of payments. But we're not going to use it. I'll use stream of investments, series of deposits. And the cool thing, folks, is to start investing now, especially you millennials, to take advantage of the future value of money. Here are the formulas, and don't worry about the math, okay? We mortals, we just use the future value of money tables, which are in Chapter 1, and you're going to learn how to use them. They're not that hard, folks. Don't go, I can't do it. You can. If you can add, subtract, multiply, or divide, you can do it. But what I want you to, the reason I show you the formulas is because I want you to see this guy right here. Who is that? Time. That's the exponent. And what do we know about exponential? Those of you who aren't going to close your ears right now. Formulas, exponential formulas, they get big. They get really big, as in this case, time marches on. So you can, if you want to use these formulas, if you have a scientific calculator with exponentiation, but you don't have to. We use the tables where it's already built in. Now the other side of the coin is called present value. And let's read at the bottom. Not only is present value harder to comprehend, it is also not as important for personal financial planning. We use present value extensively in the BUS123 class, the Introduction to Investments class, when we learn how to value investments. So it's very important as you continue. It is not important in this class. So let's just quickly breeze over it because I just want to show you one little thing. It's the current value for a future amount based on a certain interest rate and a certain time period. So money we're going to get later on that we are trying to give a present value today. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, forget about it because we're not going to ask any questions about it. It's also called discounting, and again, it can be done for a single lump sum or a series of withdrawals. But here's what I want to show you. Slide number 37. What I want to show you is that it's the same formula except it's the inverse. The exponent is now underneath the divide symbol, into the denominator. And when the denominator gets large, what happens? The amount goes down. So it's the mirror image. If you drew a picture of an exponential curve, which is a curve that starts off slow and then goes way up in the air, present value is the mirror image. It starts out slow and then goes way down. And don't drop the class because we're not going to do any present value calculations. Okay? But I just wanted to show you the time, the exponent is in the bottom. So now in the face-to-face class, we would stop and do the calculations for the future value exercises. There are 2 sheets, folks. There are commentaries. There are answer keys. There are the future value multiplier tables. And don't tell me you can't do it because you can. It is not hard. You do it enough times, and what'll happen is people will just, on the exam, they'll go, oh, sorry, man, I spaced. And I don't know what to do. I can't do it for you. Do you sense a note of desperation? I don't. I mean, if I could bottle motivation of students, I'd make $1 million because you talk to professors and teachers and they'll say the same thing over and over again. I can't do it for them. It reminds me of that nutcase football coach, Woody Hayes was his name, where the other team was going to score a touchdown and he jumped out onto the field and tackled the guy. No, Mr. Hayes, please. Yeah, you can't do it. You're the coach. You're not the player. So you can do it. And, of course, that's why we're here. Contact me. Make an appointment over the phone, in person, chat. We can use the chat feature. I don't know. I think the phone's a lot easier, but we can work it out together. We will do it. Now, when you sit down with the future value handout, you will see that a few of the problems use a 10% or 9 or 11% or even 12% rate of return. And in the back of your mind, as you're doing this, you're going to say, oh, Piano, how are we going to get a 10% rate of return? And that's what I hope in the face-to-face class I eventually get a student to go, come on, where am I going to get 10? The bank is paying me 1% now. And the answer is, it ain't easy. You got to take some risks. But as you will see on the next slide, it is possible. As lucky members of the great American economic machine, you are able to invest in investments that have returned 10, 11, 12% over significant periods of time. But are they guaranteed? No. We will spend quite a bit of time, about 2/3 of the way into the semester, discussing investments. But for now, all you need to do is look at this slide. Hope for your future, you lucky members of the great American economic machine. Look at these. All of these investments are over 50 years old. Yeah, and every single one of them, except for one, which did pretty darn close, has done 10% or better. In fact, the one that didn't do 10% has no business doing 9.79. That's a utilities fund. Utilities don't return 10%, 5, 6, 7%. You should be happy with those. What are they? Relax. We will discuss investments in detail towards the end of the semester. But these are what are called mutual funds. And you cannot live in the United States of America and not have heard of mutual funds because they advertise them like crazy. But look at some of these funds. 1950, 1931, 1930. And they've been returning 10, 11, 12%. Look at this little puppy here. T. Rowe Price's small cap, meaning small companies. 13%. Redo those problems in the future value worksheet with 12 and 13% and see what you have. So it is possible, dear students. It is no guarantee, as we will say over and over and over again. But it has been possible, and what you'll hear is, or read, past results are not indicative of future returns. But still, it's a very good sign, assuming we don't blow ourselves up, or Ebola doesn't become all the rage, or there's a meteorite or a tsunami, or I know there are no guarantees. But I'm optimistic. I am very optimistic about the future, as I said from the start. The optimists generally do better financially and are happier and have been right for the last 200 and some odd years. Talk to me in 10, 20 years and we'll see how things turned out. But I firmly believe that the next 10 to 20 years should be the most prosperous years in the history of the world. Why I'm repeating myself, because or maybe I'm not, maybe it's in the next presentation, is because the world economy is now pretty much determined that capitalism is the best form of economic systems. It's the worst, except for all the others, actually. And because of that, the middle class around the world is growing. And so we should see these same kind of returns. Not every fund is going to do this well, folks. A lot of them don't do this well. But I believe it is realistic to get 8, 9, 10%. And as I said, I shouldn't belabor the point. We're going to discuss investments in detail towards the end of the semester, but I want you to see the good news. This is financial news, not spiritual news. Before we embark upon the nuts and bolts of getting started and taxes and budgeting and all those things that are very important but not as exciting as investments. Okay, so to recap, go back over, make sure you understand how to set goals, what is a well-written goal. Your assignment is to write the 7 goals. Take a look at the assignment sheet, take a look at the rubric for goal setting. Make sure you've done the worksheet once or twice, because I'm going to ask you on the exam. And more importantly, it's going to show you how important it is to get started early. I know you boomers, you you late Gen Xers, maybe some of you traditionals are saying, why didn't you tell me this 20 or 30 years ago? Sorry. But you millennials, yeah, now don't run out today and start an investment program. No, wait a few months, get this class under your belt, and maybe take Business 123, Introduction to Investments, where we spend the entire semester discussing investments. Okay, and in our next presentation, and final presentation for Chapter 1, we will discuss the career aspects of finance, the financial aspects of careers. And we will discuss your most important financial goal, decision that you will ever make, your most important financial decision you will ever make in this lifetime. And dear students, it's not what you think it is. See you in our next presentation.